am 9th District Councilmember Whitney Elliott Baxter, and today I am at the Fayette Mall at our Public Safety Kiosk, which is a new addition to our hiring process. Today I am joined by Major Trout of Community Corrections. And Major Trout, can you just tell me a little bit about this kiosk and what the community can expect to see?
Well, the kiosk kind of started because we have always had some type of a job fair or signs or something hanging up in the mall, and we've had great success with people looking for jobs here. So we got the idea of just manning a kiosk where people walk in, they're not being bombarded. Corrections was going to do it themselves, and then we decided, what about the rest of our family? Because we're all struggling and we all need employees. So we said, how about we make it a big partnership, a big family, and everybody just got really excited about it, and it bloomed from there.
That's great. I'm really excited to welcome this new public safety kiosk to the 9th District, and I'm really looking forward to what it can do for our community. Welcome back. I'm Councilmember Whitney Baxter, and I'm joined by Sergeant Howard of Police and Captain Johnson of the Fire Department. Welcome to both of you.
Welcome.
Could you tell me a little bit about what interested you guys most in a career in public safety?
Yes, first I want to say helping the community. That was the biggest thing for me. Just a sense of purpose of giving back to the community I was raised in. And just a good feeling that helps someone in their moment that they need 911. So
that's great. What about you?
So growing up, I always looked up to police officers. It was something I wanted to do as a little kid. In college, I majored in sociology, and I enjoyed the study of individuals and groups. I also did an internship with the police department, so it kind of drew me to it.
That's great. Sergeant Howard, what do you like most about your job?
So my favorite thing is meeting new people every day. Every call, you meet someone new, build relationships, just the ability to help different people in time of need.
That's great. Captain, what would you say one of the biggest challenges of being a firefighter is?
The biggest challenge is just overcoming your fears. Most people don't realize 80% of our job is EMS and only 20% is fire.
Okay.
And 20% of that time is overcoming going in a burning house. So just overcoming your fears of that. And everyone's scared. If they're not, they're lying. So just overcoming it.
That's great. I'd say that is a big challenge. Can y'all tell me a little bit about the hiring process and kind of what the community will go through once they come to the kiosk and that process?
So first, the interested individual will fill out an RSVP for the written test. They'll go take that written test, and if they pass it, they'll take the physical fitness test. If they pass that, they'll be scheduled for an oral board where they're asked multiple questions about themselves. Depending on how they score, they'll be ranked, and then they go on to the background, which will include the polygraph. After backgrounds, they'll go into the chief selection, where the chief will go down to each individual applicant and say whether or not he wants them in the academy or not.
Okay, and about how long does the process take for police?
So for police, it's about 6 months from start to finish.
Okay.
And that includes the written test all the way to chief selection.
Great. Now I understand your process is pretty similar with fire.
Exactly the
Is there
same.
anything that's much different?
Yeah. The only thing that's different is our process lasts 10 to 12 months.
10 to 12 months. Okay. Now, as far as application requirements are concerned, are there age requirements or you mentioned a physical fitness test? Are there any other requirements?
Our age requirement is 19 to 34. You have to have a high school diploma or a GED equivalent.
Okay.
You do have to have a visa if you're not a U.S. citizen.
Okay.
So those are our requirements.
Okay. And what about
Ours
police?
is very similar with the exception of the age. You have to be 21 to 37. You have to fall in that age range prior to the deadline of the application process.
Okay, great. Do applicants have to be a resident of Lexington?
Ours, no. But you do get preference points. You get 5 percentage points for being a resident of Lexington. And if your county touches Fayette County, you get 1 percentage points in our process.
Okay, and what about for police?
Ours, no, you don't have to be a resident.
Okay, great.
Please.
So I know in both of your all's departments that teamwork and camaraderie is a big component of your everyday life. I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that and why you felt that was so important to your jobs.
Ours is very important because we do the 24-hour shifts, 48 off, and we basically live with each other. So we're kind of like a big family. You have your disagreements, but we live with each other more, and we see our regular family. So camaraderie is a big part of ours.
So you really have to like the people that you work with.
Yes, we do.
Great. And what about police?
Same thing. We see our beat partners more than we see our families. So you take 10 hours a shift, 4 days a week. You're around each other a long time. So with that being said, you kind of lean on each other a little bit more than most normal jobs.
Well, I thank both of you all for your commitment to the community, and we look forward to seeing what this kiosk can do for your departments.
All right,
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me.
Appreciate it.
With me today is Deborah Nance, manager of E911, and Major Lamons of Community Corrections. Thank you all for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So can each of you tell me a little bit about what a typical day looks like in your divisions?
Typical day in 911 would be answering police, fire, and EMS calls for our community, and then we're also the lifeline to those that respond.
Great.
With community corrections, the thing that's nice is you can take different career paths. So you can work in a housing unit, you can work in intake where new arrestees come in, you can work mass control behind a computer screen. There's many different opportunities at the jail.
That's great. And then could you each of you tell me a little bit about who you think would be an ideal candidate for your...
Ideal candidate for us, you have to have a lot of empathy, you have to be flexible, you have to be willing to do shift work, you have to somewhat know how to smile when you answer the phone calls, and you have to be able to handle a lot of different things every time that you answer the phone. It could be something different every time you answer the phone.
All right.
We're looking for people through all walks of life. We want someone who's able to communicate with people. That's the biggest thing. We're dealing with the inmate population, but it's the population from Lexington. So it could be your neighbors, it could be coworkers, it could be anybody that you know from our community. So having that personal communication skill is really the biggest thing that we're looking for.
I would say being an empathetic person is very important to both of you all.
Absolutely.
So could you tell me a little bit about the hiring process and what that looks like to a community member that may come to the kiosk, like where they would go from there?
So the hiring process is basically about the same for all of us. They would actually fill an application, and where you go for E911, you would need to go to the city's website, lexingtonky.gov. When you go there, you fill an application, then you take a customer service test and a critical test. A critical test is basically kind of give you an idea of what we do. Once you get through those, they will send you a name for us to interview, and then we go through the same process as corrections and fire and police go through as far as doing background checks and things of that nature.
Okay. Is there anything different with community corrections necessarily?
A lot of the same stuff. You'll come here, get some information from us, or you can go on our website and get it too. You'll come in, you'll do a test, and then an interview with us, go through the background process, medical clearance, and then we'll get you a start date.
And about how long is the hiring process for corrections?
It can really be knocked down to just a couple weeks, because even if we don't have a class ready to go, we can go ahead and bring you in where you shadow other staff members, and then once we get a big enough class built up to start an academy, then we'll get everybody together there. But that way you're not waiting around for us to get the right number to start. You can go ahead and start really as soon as we get your medical clearance and get you in.
And about how long is the process for E911?
So the process is a little different for us. However, we do have something called a sit-along program. So if you're ever interested in doing police, they do something called a ride-along. So you can actually go ride with an officer and live a day in a life that they do. Well, that's the same with us. However, we call it a sit-along because we're not in a vehicle. We let them sit down. We let them listen to 911 calls. We let them also listen to the dispatch for police and fire. So the process from there, though, if you want to come and do a sit-along, you're more than welcome to do that. Sometimes we even will hire in part-time. If we do hire in the part-time, that just get your feet wet until the process goes through of you becoming a full-time employee.
Great. What is the starting salary for each of your all's divisions for new hires?
If you're a 911 operator, the starting salary would be $18.62. That's our lower end. And if you come in as a dispatcher, which will dispatch the first responders of police, fire, and EMS, you start out at $20.56.
Okay. And what about in corrections?
For us, you're going to start off day one at $20 an hour.
$20.
If you get assigned to second or third shift, you get a shift differential, which will bring you up to $21 an hour.
Okay, great. And if each of you could give one piece of advice to someone considering a career in public safety, what might that be? Major?
If you're considering a job in public safety, I really suggest that you give it a shot. It can be a very rewarding career, a very stable career, and you can help out your community as well.
That's great.
So kind of exactly what he said. It's a great job to be able to help out the community. I would suggest if you come in, just be prepared to hear anything. When that phone rings, you just never know what you're going to get on the other end of that line.
Well, we really appreciate the services that you all provide to our community, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Thanks. I would like to thank all of my guests for joining me today. I'm really excited to see what this public safety kiosk can do for our community. The kiosk is located right inside the main entrance at Fayette Mall, and someone would be here most days of the week. For specific departments, fire will be here on Wednesdays, police on Thursdays, E911 on Fridays, and community corrections is here almost every day of the week from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. For more information, you can visit lexingtonky.gov for application information, or you can always reach out to me in my office. My email is wbaxter@lexingtonky.gov. And please let me know if you'd like to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. I hope you have a great day.